Next, the race against time in the hunt for a suspect after a tip about a possible bomb plot and a threat of a mass shooting at two different schools. The mayor of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, got that tip early Saturday morning, and a little more than 12 hours later, police had a suspect in custody. What he said about his arrest. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, police say it was a tip that helped lead them to arrest this man, who they accused of plotting against two schools in Pennsylvania.
The students, principal, schools, you're sorry. Sorry for what?
Making a bad joke.
But police say Christian Deal's threats were serious. The 28-year-old was arrested Saturday night for allegedly threatening to use pipe bombs and conduct a mass shooting at an elementary and high school in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. Authorities say they received a tip about the alleged plot.
The message indicated it was talking about a manifesto. It was talking about pipe bombs being set around this school. It was talking about this school being a diversion and then having a mass shooting at the high school.
Well, the drought isn't just on our doorstep, it's here. Some families in Greater Brisbane suburbs have completely run dry. The situation is dire. These southeast Queenslanders facing weeks without running water.
Washing dishes with buckets, flushing toilets only once a day. These families are now being forced to buy their water in.
You've got to conserve water for the important things like drinking and, cooking.
It looks like the country, the land is so dry, but this is just 5 kilometres from Caboolture's town centre. And families here have run out of water.
Because people can't live without water.
It's even affecting 9 News weatherman Gary Youngbury at his Northside home.
You can't flush the toilet, you can't have a shower, you can't wash the dishes. I really don't know what people are doing. We're buying water to drink as it is because we're savouring every drop.
Their only option to buy water from a licensed carrier is brought in on a truck, and they won't be seeing any of those deliveries for weeks.
But first, breaking news coming from Afghanistan, where within the last hour or so we've been getting reports of around about 40 people having been killed in what's thought to have been an airstrike. This has happened in the southern province of Helmand, and many of the dead are reported to have been attending a wedding. Let's go live to our correspondent in the capital, Kabul.
That's right, Martine. Details have been coming through, as you mentioned there, in the last couple of hours or so. But this happened, we know, last night, Sunday evening, in the Masakala district, deep in Helmand province. This is known, Masakala, to be a Taliban stronghold. Helmand is in the south of Afghanistan. We know from a statement by the Afghanistan's Ministry of Defense that this was a combined night operation of ground forces, also incorporating an airstrike, it seems. They are claiming that 22 fighters, most of them apparently foreign fighters, were killed in this attack. A further 14 were arrested, and that they seized and destroyed a large cache of Taliban weapons.
The world's oldest travel agency, Thomas Cook, has collapsed, stranding hundreds of thousands of holidaymakers around the globe. Around 20,000 jobs are now at risk, including 9,000 in the United Kingdom. A late-night meeting between company bosses and lenders failed to produce a last-ditch deal to keep the travel firm afloat. The UK aviation regulator is now having to step in to carry out a major repatriation.
If you're overseas on a Thomas Cook holiday, then you can continue to enjoy your holiday. The CAA is launching a repatriation. This is the largest repatriation since the Second World War, and we will be bringing home everybody back to the UK as close as possible to their return date.
In all, the company has around 600,000 customers abroad. Countries in the rest of Europe will now be making their own arrangements to get travellers home.
George, we are seeing a real shift here on Capitol Hill when it comes to the question of impeachment. Even Democrats who so far have been reluctant to go down this path are saying this may be changing their calculus, that we may be at a tipping point. Chairman Adam Schiff of the House Intelligence Committee is suggesting that the president's actions here, that these latest revelations may be so incriminating that the House is left with few other options. He says they may have, quote, crossed the Rubicon. Now, Nancy Pelosi notably did not even mention the word impeachment in that letter, but she certainly is hinting at the possibility. While, George, on the other side, Democrats here have been pushing for impeachment for some time are growing increasingly frustrated. They are outraged with their own party's muddled response and refusal so far to impeach.
Yeah, and the numbers of how Democrats calling for impeachment has been steadily increasing over the last several weeks. So we're facing this big deadline on Thursday. The Director of National Intelligence is supposed to come to Capitol Hill, as you saw Nancy Pelosi's demand for him to release the complaint.
Someone who has visited this amazing country many times, and as someone who regards Cape Town as a uniquely special place in Africa, I wanted to ensure that our first visit as a family, with my wife by my side, focused on the significant challenges facing millions of South Africans, while acknowledging the hope that we feel so strongly here. We are so incredibly grateful to be able to listen and learn from you about the issues that define your daily lives in these communities. And that's what this is, a community. A community where men and women have a vital role to play. Touching on what your president said last week, no man is born to cause harm to women. This is learned behavior and a cycle that needs to be broken.
The two Koreas and the United Nations Command have come together to repair a typhoon-hit building situated in the inter-Korean truce village of Panmunjom, an unprecedented move since the signing of the Korean Armistice Agreement in 1953. That's according to the UN Command on Monday, which added that the three parties have mainly worked on repairing the roof of a conference room building for 3 days, starting September 12th, ruined due to Typhoon Lingling. During the repair work, some North Korean workers are said to have crossed the military demarcation line located inside the joint security area, an incident that had been approved by the UNC in advance.
Well, basically what they risk is life in prison. What they did do is try and bomb a street which is just a couple of blocks from where I'm standing right now. That is right next to Notre-Dame de Paris. What they decided to do was take one of these women's father's cars. It was a Peugeot 607, and indeed they filled the trunk of that car with gas canisters, 6 of them to be precise, and then they put a cover over them and put some petrol, some gasoline, actually diesel fuel, and that was one of the reasons why this attack actually failed. Now, 3 of them are the main culprits or main characters here, and these are Ines Madani and Angela Gilligman. They're the ones who drove around Paris trying to find an appropriate place for their attack that morning. They drove around and eventually stopped the car, as I said, just a couple of blocks from here. Then they threw a cigarette butt in the trunk of the car, hoping that it would blow up, and indeed called police for there to be a maximum of damage.
What does that say?
When Steven Weber proposed to girlfriend Kanisha Antoine.
Oh, it's so cute.
He did it with a little bit of daring, writing, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you." Her answer, a resounding yes, but Weber never heard the reply. He drowned shortly after this proposal. The Louisiana couple, both 40 years old, had been together for 2 years.
So excited.
And were celebrating their love with a bucket list vacation.
Here we go.
Staying in a partially submerged hotel room about 30 feet underwater. The $1,700 a night room is the centerpiece of the Manta Resort, a luxurious hotel off the coast of Tanzania. Stephen's sister Mandy said their family knew Stephen was planning to pop the question, but weren't aware of his risky plans. It's still unclear what happened to Weber after the proposal and before his return to the surface. Stephen's sister Mandy said he was found alive by passing boaters. One rescuer even performed CPR.
A festival unlike any other.
Strange, unusual, a lot of weirdness going on, a lot of strange people. I think that's the best part of it.
Alien seekers and UFO hunters continue camping out at Alienstock.
They were up late last night, after 2 o'clock in the morning, so the music was loud. But it's been good.
Enjoying the entertainment while nearby tents sell goods and keepsakes.
So I just brought out some novelties.
Dawn Kramer set up a stand on her 5 acres of land. She lives in Florida, but drove across the country to not miss this opportunity.
Oh, nothing ventured is nothing gained. I have tents, I have propane, I have air mattresses. Of course, I have t-shirts, coolers.
Supplies to survive the elements. Meanwhile, others bring alien-themed handmade items for people to purchase. While some people sell novelties and basic camping essentials, one man decided to bring a necessity out here: fuel, since the nearest gas station to Rachel is roughly 40 miles away.
We thought it'd be a good service. We tried to figure out a price that would help people out, because it's a long walk back.
How much are you selling gas for?
$8 a gallon.